Welcome back. Time for our GMC Sierra Tweet of the Night. It comes from the NFL's Twitter account. Number 45 on the NFL Top 100, it is Steelers captain Cam Hayward, y'all. You know how I do things. But there he is, the captain himself, number 45 on the Top 100 list, which means, Andrew Fillipponi, we have not heard the names of TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick yet. That means they're coming at some point. If I had to guess, I'll say Minkah probably top 30, TJ probably somewhere in the top 20. Where are you putting these two remaining Steelers in that top 100 list?
Yeah, well, Watt's going to get into the top 20 because of the reputation. He was a top 10 player. I guess you have to ding him because of his lack of availability last year when he did play.
Right.
He wasn't as dominant because he was still, I think, dealing with the lingering effects of that pec injury and then the knee that he had scoped. So I think that's fair to knock him down a few pegs because last year was not a Defensive Player of the Year worthy. Mm-hmm. And then Minkah's tough. I mean, Minkah, for me, is probably more deserving of a high ranking right now than Watt because as the ESPN poll showed, from the executive poll, he's considered the best safety in the NFL.
There you go.
So to me, if you're the best at your position, you should be no worse than top 25. But I think I'm with you. I think he'll probably come in closer to maybe 30. I don't know where he was last year. I'd have to go double check that.
Ooh, I can't remember either.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at his all-pros, he's already had 3. And there are great Steelers, all-time great Steelers, Bradshaw, Franco Harris, who never had 3 first-team all-pros. I mean, he really, believe it or not, is on a Hall of Fame trajectory right now.
He is.
It was still a lot of time to go in his career, too. Many good years ahead of Minkah Fitzpatrick. That was a great trade.
Yeah, he's, 27 years old, if I'm not mistaken? There is plenty of time left for Minkah to make his mark. And some will tell you, when you get into those late 20s, that's most athletes, that's their prime. So just imagine if we're talking about this and we're knocking on all the wood around us, just what could be in store in the future. Let's talk about some football here on the phone lines, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. We got Matt and Butler. Matt, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, guys. Good evening. Great program. I absolutely love it.
Appreciate you.
Hey, just real quick, on 93.7 today, they were talking about whether we should play any starters during these preseason games. If I look back to last year, I think they played Mahomes a lot more than people thought because he was trying to work out the timing in real time with defense with his new receivers. Why would we not? I mean, Kenny Pickett's only been around 1 year. He certainly isn't seasoned and great that he doesn't need to play some reps. I'm not saying all, but he needs to play some reps to get down his timing with his receivers better.
Thanks, Matt, for the call. And that was our first call of the night. So it is our number 1 Cochran call of the night. Number 1 Cochran, go one better. Pony, I don't think this is a question. I think Kenny Pickett will see some time. We're probably talking, a quarter, maybe a quarter of the half as we get to the quarter and a half as we get to the later part of the preseason. I think it's going to be the same thought process with this team. Give him some time. Give him some comfortable reps with the first team. Maybe a series with the second team, but to get himself in rhythm with the guys he's going to throw to this season.
Yeah, I think that the only question I have about this idea of playing Pickett is what kind of players are you willing to put around him?
Right.
Okay, so we saw Najee last year get hurt. He had a Liz Frank in training camp, and it was made worse by playing in that 3rd preseason game. So for my money, he should not be out there. I would not want to play Najee. I'm okay with Jaylen Warren with him. I don't think that's a big downgrade at all. Offensive line, though, you got to make sure your quarterback's protected.
Yep.
And if it's about getting on the same page with receivers, that means you got to play Pickens, and you got to play guys like Freiermuth and Johnson some. Johnson's made a lot of money, and Freiermuth has had some concussions. So it's a slippery slope, really. I mean, I hear what the caller is saying. Pickett's not reached the point yet where he deserves to just get the entire preseason off. But if it's all about him getting in sync with his play with his teammates, they need to be out there with him. And I actually do think Tomlin will play those guys more than most teams do in those 3 preseason games. I wouldn't be surprised if the first-team offense played in 2 of the 3 preseason games.
I agree, especially with everything we saw last season. You remember that first half of the season, how out of sync that offense was. They're going to try to establish as much continuity as they can because they don't want to stumble out of the gate the way they did last year. They want to look more like they did in the second half of the season than they did in the first half of the season. We're going to stay up north in Butler because Joe's up there. Joe, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi, Joe.
Hi there. I just have a question and a comment for you.
Mm-hmm.
So my comment first, why do you make so many damn faces when you're on?
I'm good at making faces. It's what I do. Plus it shows I'm engaged. I'm listening to you.
My question is, why do you make so many damn faces?
I'm good at making faces, and mine looks a lot better than yours, but thanks for calling. My mom thinks I'm handsome. Pony's handsome, too.
Thank you, Josh.
You know. And the good thing about it is we're passing on some really great genes down to our daughters, too, so there's that part also. Let's get back to actually.
That doesn't sound like a kid from Butler that was coached by the great Matt Clement.
Absolutely
that kid needs
not.
a little more discipline.
Absolutely
from
not.
the sounds
No
of
respect
things.
whatsoever.
Come
No.
on, Joe. You're making prank phone calls on a weeknight. Make better use of your time, my man.
Joe, get as handsome as me, then you can complain about my face.